Um, I just wanted to. I mean, there's a lot of things that I need to address. Um, I was actually debating whether I should go live with debating it or not. Um, Hold on a second. Did I say debating? If I should address it, these issues live, or create a video. Um, but I might as well just do it live. I mean, I'll try my best to be consistent with you know and addressing every subject that I or every issue that I bring up. Um, I mean, there's just so many issues and places I could begin. I think I'm going to begin with the whole how I ended up in this situation. Um, how I got to here now in the present. Um, it's it is unusual. I mean, but if you're here in California and then you know that unusual circumstances took place not too long ago. Back in around, for me it was 2016, when all these unusual events took place, um, that led up to this point in time right now in the present. Um, while I was working at Bimbo Bakery in Montebello, that's when everything just started turning kind of strange. The city changed. Um, I've been a psychic intuitive for since around 2001. I didn't consider myself psychic until about after my experience in 2001, which ended probably about in 2005, maybe. Um, then I started doing research and started trying to find out what was going on and reading about psychic abilities and what was going on, and reading self-help books on positivity, and that's when I found religious science, and I started reading that and researching that, and metaphysic books, and just listening to other psychics like Sylvia Brown, a lot of other psychics. Um, I was a regular listener on Hay House, Louise Hay's Hay House radio. That was pretty good. I used to always listen to that. But back in 2016, while I was working at Bimbo Bakery, there was a lot of unusual activity that had began there, and it began with the majority of people who work at Bimbo Bakery are foreign nationals. They you would assume they're Mexicans, but thinking back about it, I mean, a lot of them were probably Puerto Ricans as well. Even the owner of Bimbo Bakery, supposedly he's Mexican from Mexico, but I think he's Puerto Rican. Honestly, because I know that there is a lot of Puerto Ricans there. There was a lot of Puerto Ricans there that look like Mexicans and they talk like Mexicans, but they weren't Mexican. They were Puerto Rican, and they hired a lot of Puerto Ricans there. But during the graveyard shift, sitting right there in that office, you're able to see the street, which is Maple Avenue, right by the train tracks. So I mean, you see everything that goes on there. You hear everything in the neighborhood. It started getting really negative in that neighborhood. I mean, even the employees there were getting real aggressive, and before it doesn't take me too long to realize what's going on, especially with people. Um, but I realized what was going on. I would be there at night, and I mean, I would see spirits like at the windows, like almost daily, every night. Every night, I would see spirits looking at me through the window. I mean, it was an experience that was just it was amazing, but it was um, to comprehend what was going on. Um, it was kind of it was difficult because there was so much negativity with the employees and people passing by, screaming stuff, and the same right here in my neighborhood when I'd be home. All of a sudden, there's a group of people who are coming around and screaming stuff outside your home, and you know you're telling you don't be secretive, or don't be negative, or secretive or negative, and before you knew it, it was just a common thing that people would come and tell you. I mean, random people that you don't even know. I mean, I didn't know them. I had no idea who they were, and I have them trying to tell me what to do. You know what I mean? I mean, when I knew it was bad, when I realized that people that were coming around were also had a psychic ability of clairaudience, because if you have psychic abilities, if you have clairaudience, then already. You know that um, you pretty much could find out what anybody's doing. Anybody, if you ask, if you want to use that ability for that purpose of finding out what people are doing, prying inside their business, and you want to be you want to be intrusive and meddling in their life. I mean, you could use it for that negativity. You could use it for that negative, for that, you could use it to manipulate. You could use it to intimidate. That's something I never thought of using that for, because why would I? I mean, why? I mean, I ain't trying to intimidate nobody. I ain't trying to control anybody. Um, I mean, yeah, if I want to go and try to impress somebody and be negative and try to you know flaunt my ability, yeah, I could do that. I could go to someone, stand out some outside. Excuse me, stand outside someone's home and just blurt out everything that I hear coming out of their mind, all their personal information. I could be sitting in their parking lot asking all their personal information and be yelling it out. It's simple. I mean, it ain't hard, but why would you do that? So, I mean, basically, that's what's happening here. And then when you get people that barely, barely possess their ability, when they barely get their ability to hear, they're all excited, and automatically they think they're a professional psychic because they could hear spirit. And whoever taught it to them, and send them out to go listen to people in their home and manipulate them and intimidate them by screaming out all their personal information, and even and throwing accusations too. I mean, that's a crash course into psychic abilities. I mean, you're if you when you get that ability, um, um, it's like someone with a gun that don't know how to use it. They think they know how to use it. They think they know the precautions of using it, and they don't. And they end up shooting themselves, or shooting their foot off, or their finger, or their hand, or their head. I mean, it happens. A gun is dangerous, and so is this ability, because you know, these people are here, and they think there's only one voice, one spirit. And there's not. There's billions of spirits out there. They think that their communication is like a private phone line, and it's not. Everyone can hear them, especially psychics, especially psychics that are seasoned psychics. Um, they don't even know what they're listening to. They could be asking a question um, to somebody that they think that they're listening to, and it's not even them. It's actually a spirit just fooling with their mind, and they're out there. They're out there wherever they're at, screaming, accusing people of being negative and being secretive, and it's not even them thinking. So you got someone that's outside hearing voices accusing others of doing things and being things that they're not. That's that's grounds for being deemed mentally disturbed, really, or having a mental issue, because that's exactly what it is. Um, after July 1st, 2016, the incidents, the issues that took place here, the occurrences that took place here in 2016 on July 1st were really, really awkward. It was like an invasion of the city. I was here. I think I was off of work, and it was just so unusual. It was just weird. It was a weird. I mean, I was already investigating the neighborhood because of all the changes that were here and all the intimidation that was going on here. And then I finally realized that I think it was until mm, okay, after July 1st, um, that's when everything just broke loose here. It seemed. I mean, everything just people jamming up and down the streets. There were people just flying all over the place. I mean, loud explosions all over the place. I mean, there was shotguns going off on these blocks behind me in the residential neighborhoods, and I had to sit here and say, "Wait a minute, are those shotgun shells going off in there? I mean, in the neighborhood?" Like, I had to really listen out. I heard gunshots. I heard shotguns, explosions. And at the same time all those explosions are going off, I'm hearing cars flying up and down the street, like, and but the cops were nowhere to be seen. I wasn't worried, but I was aware of what was going on, and my daughter was on my mind, and she was a concern. And she lives on the other side of Whittier Boulevard. Um, so when I heard a loud explosion on the other side of the block, I decided that I made the choice that I have to go walk over there and see what's going on, see if everything's all right, because her mother wasn't answering the phone. So I walked over there and just to check it out. Her mother wasn't there; they weren't there, so I just came. I just started walking back home, and when I was at the corner waiting for the stoplight, I had this moment. This moment, it was everything just it was weird. It was a realization that I was standing there at the corner with a group of people right next to me, and I'm looking around, and I kid you not, the whole city seemed like it was just foreign. It was I don't know what it was. I mean, the people next to me were speaking Spanish. Um, there was a whole bunch of noise, people flying all over. Everything just looked like I was in another country. I ain't bullshitting, and it was just like, I don't know if spirit put this kind of veil over my eyes to make me see something different, or change my atmosphere, but the atmosphere wasn't the same. It was different. I felt like I was actually in a foreign country, and so I walked back home, and you know, I'm hearing people in the parking lot talking loud. Spanish, and I really started thinking, I'm like, are we being invaded by Mexico? Or I was trying to figure out what was going on, like, because the people that were flying up and down, they were Latinos. So I mean, it was confusing. It was confusing to thinking of what was going on. I'm seeing a lot of Latinos here all over the place that look like me and resemble me, and you wouldn't think nothing weird of it, but they spoke mostly Spanish. Um, so during the night, things died down, but it was crazy. It was crazy. July 1st, 2016. I'll never forget. That's when everything changed here in Montebello. Um, and I'm certain that it was planned because, like I said, there was no police, and that's what made it really unusual. Um, so after July 1st, even July 4th, I was at work. July 4th was in nothing compared to July 1st. July 4th, it was really like a quick 4th of July. I mean, there was fireworks, but there wasn't excessive fireworks like there was on the first. And then everything cut out pretty early in the night. I mean, it was pretty quiet. So that was kind of strange. But everything after that was just that's when the realization of what was going on finally happened. I would be seeing spirits all over on surveillance. I'd be seeing spirits at the window, and I had this one really, 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 really memorable experience, and it was just I got it on video. I mean, you could go on YouTube and check it out. It's called Serial Killer Hal. But I was sitting down, and I look up at the window, and clear as day, the reflection on the window, I see John Wayne Gacy staring at me. And my initial reaction staring at John Wayne Gacy was like, okay, this is a serial killer who passed away, an infamous serial killer from the 70s who passed away. And I acknowledge that, and I'm like, what is he doing? Like, why is he here? Like, why would it be me that he came to show himself to? So I'm looking at him, and I just ask him, Mr. Gacy, is there anything I could do for you? I mean, can I help you? And he didn't say nothing, but the whole experience was surreal. A whole scene began playing out right before me, and looking out the window. I seen people, children, sitting all around, standing all around. I seen him transform from himself to Pogo the Clown. And he was showing me basically, I guess, what he would be doing, how they would act. Because I would see some adults sitting down with children, and then being really kind of sneaky and secretive with them. It didn't look like anything odd, but watching the whole scene, it was really they're being really, really discreet about what they were doing. I would see him leaning over people's shoulders, talking in their ear, looking at me, and I'm like, I'm wondering, like, what the. This dude's like showing me like he's being sneaky. Basically, that's what he's showing me. He's being really, really sneaky. And I'm sitting there, and I'm wondering, well, what's going to happen? Does he have bad intentions towards me? I mean, what's going on? But like I said, I seen whole scenes playing out before my head before I knew it. I'm seeing people getting murdered. I'm seeing children getting strangled. I'm seeing children getting killed. I'm seeing spirits of the dead. Scenes playing out. A dead guy walking over to a bed, um, sitting on the edge of a bed, and of a girl, and he's like he looked dead. You know, I seen people getting murdered, killed. Then um, he would be popping up at the windows like all around me. I would turn around and he would be sitting. He would be looking at me through a window, just like trying to be trying to intimidate. I wasn't scared. I wasn't scared. I was more amazed. I was more amazed. But all I know, that night, everyone was there. I had photos of everybody. When I started taking pictures and video almost immediately. When that started happening, and I seen my son Josh's spirit right next to me. I seen my daughter's spirit outside with her mother. I seen spirits of family members. Um, it was weird. I have a picture of my son right next to me inside the office. It's just his head, but the side of his head, but it's his spirit, and he's looking out the window, and I see my mom's image right there, looking in the window, looking at Josh, like concerned. The images were they were scary. I mean, they're questionable. Like what's going on here? What's happening? So I sat down and I stopped recording, and I said, no, I'm gonna stop looking. And I sat down and I told myself, you know what? I know if I look back at the window, I'm gonna see him. And sure enough, when I looked back at him, I looked back in the window right in back of me where I was sitting. There he was standing there. He was just standing there, really like just in a stance, like just cool, like just standing there. And I said, I just told him, yeah, I mean, Mr. Gacy, is there anything what can I do for you, really? I mean, what's the purpose of your visitation? What are you here for? And I just read his lips, and I heard him telepathically just say, "Wait till tomorrow." He said, "Wait till tomorrow," and that was disturbing. So I didn't show up. I didn't show up. I called off. I literally called off. I didn't want to find out because, like I said, people were already at Bimbo Bakery were getting real aggressive already. I couldn't understand why. There was too many aggressive people there. Finally, I got discharged from that post. Really for doing my job, because someone drove in and they didn't show their identification. He just drove in, and when I questioned it, one of the foremen, their supervisors, told the supervisor for G4S, we're gonna let him go. We're gonna switch him out. And that's what happened. I lost my position there at Bimbo Bakery for doing my job. I mean, I wrote up a report and everything. I mean, the only thing I did was a report that someone drove in without showing their identification, and that's it. And that's why I got discharged from that post. After that, let me continue on with all the occurrences there. So that was one experience, and after that experience, I was seeing spirits there every day. I was seeing spirits on video, on the surveillance camera. I seen one of the biggest, brightest spirits that I ever seen. I had a weird encounter. I was hearing one of my ex-girlfriends that I hadn't been or even seen for like 12 years, maybe 11, 12 years. And I was hearing her name and I was hearing her voice, and all of a sudden I seen her spirit. It was big and it was bright, and it was on surveillance. It was like a big bright light just walking, and I could tell it was her because the way she walked, it was like a silhouette of her body just walking. And I was trying to pull out my camera so I could take a picture of it, but I didn't. I wasn't able to. So what I did was I stood by the window. I'm looking at surveillance, and I'm looking at the out the window towards what I was looking at on surveillance. I couldn't see the light walking towards me through the window, but I seen the light on the surveillance camera, and that's what was tripping me out. So when I seen the light, when I seen that light approaching the security office, um, on surveillance, I looked out the window. I couldn't see it, so I went to the other window and I started taking pictures. I started taking snapshots, and that's when I got the image of the woman in black. I mean, it's a woman, a shadow, perfectly cut out shadow of a little woman in black carrying a crucifix and a little purse, and then other spirits all around of children hiding. So I couldn't understand what was going on, but I had a good idea after, because that same night they had just killed a little girl in downtown at some factory. Supposedly, her father killed her in a factory that they were working at. It sounded kind of weird, but at that time I wasn't really talking to my daughter's mother. She was giving me a hard time, and you know, when you have a child, a toddler, you can't help but those kind of wondering, if your own daughter's all right, and that's what I was thinking was, is my own daughter all right? And I remember, I think the date was November 3rd or November 5th of 2016. Um, you can look it up. It was a little girl that got stabbed or something in downtown. She was only probably about 3 years old. That's when I realized things were getting really, really, really ugly and really um, dangerous. Because at the same time, that's when they kidnapped the little infant. Oh, I don't know if it was kidnapped, but um, the whole incident was questionable from Beverly Hospital. Supposedly, this couple had a baby and it was born healthy, and out of nowhere they come and tell them that the baby died, and they couldn't see the body because they already sent it to get cremated. Who makes those kind of calls? Um, that was really that was major. It was downplayed. It was downplayed. I mean, that would be some big news, you know. Like, hey, that's a life. That's a parent's little newborn that supposedly was healthy, and got sent to the incinerator before they had a chance to even say goodbye or even know that the baby passed away. That's like front page news right there, but it got downplayed. Um, so like eventually, I got sent to Burbank, to St. Joseph's Medical Center. The first, I think the first month I was there, everything was cool. Nothing seemed strange. Nothing seemed unusual. I was just doing fire. It was called Fire Watch. I would just every, I think, hour, I would just hit these checkpoints up and down the hospital, and one of the towers. So I was going up and down, up from the roof all the way down to the basement, and then I go back in the office and chill out for about 20, 30 minutes. But I never really used to go back in the office. I used to always go up to the roof. I used to go up to the roof and just chill out up there, and check out the scenery, and enjoy the breeze and the fresh air. And I never seen nothing unusual there. I mean, it was haunted because I had an experience there of a disembodied voice, and it was loud. It was loud, really loud. I mean, like a screaming voice, disembodied. and we couldn't figure out where it was coming from, but it was just all around us. It was all around us in the air, and that's the only unusual occurrence I had there. So after that fire watch was done for that tower, they told us come back, don't come back, and they gave us a date to come back to start the second assignment. So I went to they sent me to a empty car lot in Monrovia or Duarte. That was a trippy experience too, because it got pretty aggressive there too. People passing by up and down, and I took a lot of photos there, a lot of spirit photos right there. You can see them on my Twitter feed. That was another experience there. But one of the first multi ghost experiences that I had, sightings, multiple ghost sightings there that I had was just on the other side of the freeway from where I was at. I had the first trippy multi ghost experience that I've ever had. One of the most memorable that I ever had, and I was working at a aviation plant security on the other side of the 210 freeway. And I remember I had blogged about my whole experience, and I found out the girl's name and everything, who I seen. And while I was there in Monrovia, I heard her. I heard her spirit. I heard her spirit on the other side of the freeway, exactly where in the neighborhood where I was at, posted at. I could hear her spirit, and her spirit was getting angry with, I guess, residents in that area right there. And she was, telling them, basically, stop being negative, and I heard her, and we communicated. While I was there. That was another memorable experience there. So that assignment ended, and I went back to St. Joseph's Medical Center, and that's when things got really, really awkward there. I had already had an encounter with Kenneth Bianchi after that, because of that incident. On the other side of the freeway with that girl that I seen, and I identified. Her name was Cynthia May Hernandez. She disappeared from Glendora in 1979, I believe. She went to go see a movie. She went to go see The Omen by herself, because I think everyone was busy, so she wanted to go see The Omen. She went to go see The Omen, and she disappeared from the theater she was at. They just found her car there, and I seen her image. I seen her standing in front of the window, and she was the most memorable one, because there was two of them that were really memorable. It was Cynthia and another one named Lula Ann Gillespie. They're memorable because Lula Ann was standing in front of the window, and her image was like just surreal. It was surreal. She was just standing there, and it looked like a computer animated kind of CGI, but it wasn't. I seen it. I seen her standing there, and I could see her hair like blowing in the breeze, and she just looking down at the floor, and she looked sad. She just looked really sad, and she was just pondering. And I remember exactly what she was wearing. She was wearing a white and pink flower dress, and I remember her hairstyle. I remember everything. And then Cynthia, I remember everything about her too, because she really spooked me out. She looked really scary. She had dark shadows under her eyes, kind of like me, but really darker. Like a dead. Like she was dead, she was wearing a pink sweater, a pink hoodie sweater, and blue jeans with her hair pushed back. and she was looking at me, and she was just like looking at me, and she's floating into the window. And I just told her, if you have anything to say to me or you have any message, go ahead, you could talk to me. And then I started hearing names. I started hearing names of people, and then I knew that she was warning me about a certain people in my life that I know. And I kind of got scared. I kind of got shook, so I cut off the I just blanked out of the communication of telepathic communication. I just cut out of it, and I stood there looking at them, and there was about one, two, three, four, five, six, about six, seven spirits standing right there. Young teenage girls dancing right in front of the window. I took a picture, and you could see some details. A lot of them, especially when you enhance the photo, you can see the details of exactly what I was experiencing. And I did get a picture of Luann Gillespie. I got a good image of her crying at the window, and I found out who she was too. And that was all psychic investigations. While I was doing the investigation about Cynthia, I figured that if she died in that area, it would have to been in the 70s because even in the 80s they had surveillance already, and the place I was at had 24-hour surveillance. So I knew it couldn't be any time in the present or recently, and plus she looked like she was from the 70s. So I started doing an investigation, and I put in you know victims of infamous serial killers that existed in that area. And I mean, who's more famous than the Hillside Stranglers? I had at that time I had no idea who the really who they were. I heard of them. I never researched them really. I mean, I knew a little about them. Kenneth Bianchi, Angelo Buono, 1970s. Um, but I didn't even have an idea if they were even alive or not. And investigating them wasn't even a thought in my mind. I wasn't concentrating on them. I was concentrating on the possibilities of missing persons that could have been a victim of the Hillside Stranglers, because they're up and down the foothills right there. So I started doing a search, missing people in the 70s, and sure enough, she pops up, and I found her, Cynthia May Hernandez. And while I was investigating, I started hearing a spirit. I heard a spirit started saying secretive secretions. I had no idea what secretive secretions meant until now, that my home is being polluted with secretions that are being hidden all over my home. And that's just so people could use their spirit to spy and report to everything I'm doing to them, and find out information about what I have in my house, who's here, anything they want about me and my family. Their spirit will report if their secretions are here in my home. So that's what the first time I heard. That was back in the 2013 that I heard secretive secretions. So when I posted my the blog, the story I wrote about the whole incident, that's when I found out that Kenneth Bianchi was still alive. Because I know, and that's when I actually found out that he has psychic abilities too, because I know I was being psychically attacked by him, because the spirit told me it's Kenneth Bianchi, the Hillside Strangler. I go, well, he's in prison, so I thought he was in prison. I come to find out he wasn't in prison, and he probably never has been in prison since that time. Just like Veronica Compton, and there's proof. Look up Veronica Compton. There's two Veronica Comptons. There's the real one, and she even wrote an article with the real Veronica Compton. Please stand up. There's two of them. There's a real one and a fake one. I doubt if any of them ever did time. It was all just a front, a fake. It was a conspiracy. Just like Kenneth Bianchi, he never did time either. And I come to find out, Charles Manson did time, but he was in and out all the time. He had the freedom to leave the prison whenever I guess he had to. He lived a free life outside of prison, and then would go back to just or he would have a lookalike that would just take his place. And obviously, everyone who played their lookalike, probably got compensated. But I know because it's just odd that every place that I got sent from G4S, it was had some connection from the aviation place to Bimbo, from Bimbo to Burbank. Well, after I found out that Kenneth Bianchi was still alive, and that I knew he was concentrating on me, because, like I said, if someone's concentrating on you or they're reading about you, you can just tell your spirit, let me know who's concentrating on me or who's thinking about me, and they will. Your spirit will, and it will give you that information. Me, I don't do that. I don't care who's thinking about me. I mind my own business. I don't go into other people's lives and start manipulating or extracting information from their spirit or anything. I'm just I'm self-absorbed. Really, I can't even imagine me even wondering like what's going on with somebody else and wanting all their personal information. It's just like, really, like, why? I don't care. Like, I live my own life. I do my own thing. I'm productive. I get busy. My mind's always thinking. My mind's always researching. My mind's always working and creating. I don't have time to be thinking about anybody else and their drama or have bad intentions on doing anything to them. But that's me. There's other people that are different. There's other people that need to watch soap operas because they need to be involved in other people's business, and that's the only way that they could that's the only way they can fulfill that need to be meddling and involved in other people's lives, is through soap operas. They just want to know. They want to be in everybody else's life. They want to be meddling. That's not me. I don't care. I mean, I have my own problems. I don't need yours. So that's when I started doing research on Kenneth Bianchi. And I found out he was alive. I didn't even know he was alive. And I found out. And then he showed up to my apartment one day with 3 other people. And one of them was Leslie Van Houten. I know who the other one was in the back seat. I'd rather not say, but that made me really wonder what the fuck is going on. There is something going on here that's a conspiracy, and but I had an experience in 2001 with the Manson family and Scientologists, and I wasn't secretive about that experience. I told I would call the police station because I was like literally in terror. I was in fear. I was paranoid. I never had that experience. I mean, I really had to man up. I had to man up. And I had to start get really negative towards these people that were coming around. I would have to stand up and start, start getting crazy with them if they ever came around. But I would, but it was just like I just that whole experience just made me aware of exactly how strong the supernatural is, and the spirit world, and people who can manipulate it. Modern day witchcraft, how strong that was, because I had bad spirits plaguing me daily for months. I had the most unusual experiences. I was I was lucid dreaming, like having these dreams that were like real. I would have visions of things that were happening to people, um, real visions. And I found an incident. I found this picture when I was looking for my son Joshua. Um, I hadn't talked to my son Joshua in about 8 years. I have no idea how he's doing. He don't contact me. He got in contact with my sister, probably about when before he turned 18. I think he's 19 now. Before he turned 18, and those are the pictures that I post on Twitter of him. But that's the only communication I've had. So I started just doing information on Joshua and looking for him, and I ran into these photos from Allen, Texas, I believe, Allen, Texas, of a kid named Joshua. What was it, Cervantes? I don't think it was. I think it was Joshua Cervantes. There was another Joshua Cervantes though, and I seen a picture, and this picture was in the living room, and it was him and his little brother at Christmas, and I remember it because I had this vision. I seen a light in the wall. I was in a dark room, and I just seen this pinhole of light. So I walk over and I'm looking into that pinhole of light, and all I see in there is this living room, and the walls are wood paneling. Um, that's how I know it was unique. It was wood paneling, and there was this kid on his knees in his underwear and his head shaved, um, and blindfolded, and it looked like it was in a closet or a pantry. And I'm looking, and I'm like, and there's something going on, like this kid's being kidnapped or something. And there was this big dog that walked up to him and started licking him on his face, and then the hole closed up. So when I seen that picture, that's exactly what I seen: the wood walls and the kid, the kid that was on his knees with his head shaved, while his older brother got killed. Um, I think he got stabbed, and I think that took place in Allen, Texas. But there is a connection between Montebello and Allen, Texas, because while doing all this research into Montebello, I found these old this old footage of Christmas parades, and they took place in Allen, Texas. But Allen, Texas resembles Montebello, and so do the people in Allen, Texas, because I seen a lot of familiar faces in the video, including my own. I found a video there of me in a different life. I mean, it's a kid about maybe 13 years old, but in the beginning of the video, they're literally burying people in this field, and I think they're burying all the Latinos because they were all white. You can see heads and bodies that they're burying. I mean, the video is posted on my profile. It's called 1970s Parade, and there's a kid in there, a big old kid, probably about 12 years old, 13 maybe. This took place in the 70s, and it's me. It's me in my other life. It looks just like me. Um, and you could hear them saying, Arthur, Arthur, you know. And I think that's the day that kid met his demise there. And then I came back. So there is a connection between Allen, Texas and Montebello. Why I seen that vision, I have no idea. But I guess it was to let people know that I seen that kid tied up in the closet, because I let everyone know. I ran into this picture. I seen Kenneth Bianchi, and I noted, when they pulled up in front of my apartment, I was already standing out there. I already was expecting them because I already heard them. telepathically. I was hearing the communication, and so I was outside waiting for him, I think. And sure enough, they pull up, and I know who it is. I seen the silhouette of Kenneth Bianchi, and he's just looking at me. He's sitting in the back seat. He's looking at me, and you know, I wasn't angry or anything. I wasn't combative or anything, but he was just sitting there looking intimidating, just there. So I got up and I started walk. I walked to the lawn, and um, I was just standing there. I actually wanted to talk to them, like see what they wanted. Like Kenneth Bianchi, what does he want? What does Leslie Van Houten want here? That wasn't the first time I seen Leslie Van Houten. That was the second time I seen her. The first time I seen her, I was at work and she pulled up right in front of my Bimbo Bakery with a big old tall giant guy in there. And so I went to the restroom, and when I came back out, I'm looking at the guy and I recognized who that guy was. I was like, I can't believe that. And telepathically, I'm telling him, hey, like, I don't want no problems. I already got problems with I've had problems with the Manson family. Um, I already know that Kenneth Bianchi was concentrating on me, and he already knew who I was. And I told him, I got problems with other serial killers that I never met, and I don't even know why they would even be paying attention to me, really. But that big old tall guy was Edward Kemper, the serial killer. I mean, I told him I don't want no problems, man. Like I don't have no judgments towards you. You did what you did, and that's it. I don't need no problems. He's like a 7 foot tall Anglo-Saxon serial killer, brutal. I mean, the college co-ed killer. And that's who she was with. Yeah, I mean, basically, I just, my spirit told him I don't want no problems. I never seen him again after that. But that was the first time I seen Leslie Van Houten. That second time was with Kenneth Bianchi. And I just remember I was outside and I heard get negative. And when I heard that, I knew there was another car in the parking lot. When I heard that, I pulled out my 9mm and I cocked it back and I pointed it right at Kenneth Bianchi's head. And I told him, get negative then. I go, get negative. I yelled it out, get negative. And they just froze. All of them froze right then. And I just had my 9mm pointed at them, and I'm just looking at them. And I know they had like a 22 because I could hear them say pass. I could hear spirit. I don't have to explain. When you're telepathic, when you have clairaudience, you could hear things. You could hear information. And I know they had a 22, and he was trying to tell Leslie Van Houten pass me the 22. You know what I mean? They had a 22 automatic, I think. And so I just told him, well, go ahead, pass it to him, pass it to him. And I was, and they were frozen. So I go, you know what? I'm not gonna do nothing, and I'm not gonna shoot them. I was just showing them that don't come around my home trying to fuck with me or my family, because I won't hesitate to fucking put slugs in you. If you're here trying to mess with my mother or me. So I came back inside. I actually came in to get my camera, so I could take pictures of them because I wanted proof. Hey, here's Kenneth Bianchi and Leslie Van Houten in front of my home. So I came in real quick, and I'm looking for my camera, and I go back outside, and then no one's in the car. They all took off. I already know where they had went. They went to the home right across the street because that home was already in question because of the activity that was going on there, and all the heckling that would come out of there. So that was the first time, my first encounter with Kenneth Bianchi. It was awkward. I posted it on Twitter, what went on. Then the second encounter I had with him was when I was doing the fire watch for my second duty. I was doing fire watch in the generator area of the generator building, and I left my bag. I left my backpack right there in the hallway, which was a bad idea because when I came back, there was a little piece of wire hanging off of, a stair post. and it was I looked at it and I go, that wasn't there when I left. And I looked at it and right away, Kenneth Bianchi came into my mind, and I even tweeted, is Kenneth Bianchi on vacation again? And so I took off, and I was going to go get something to drink, and I just had this strong sense that he was here in the area. He was there in the area at Burbank. And so I just said, where's Kenneth Bianchi? I don't ask questions. It's rare. It's rare that I ever ask spirit questions. It has to be for a good reason, and it has to be it has to be for a good reason, important reason. Other than that, I'll use my intuition and I'll just try to figure things out. It's rare that I ever go to spirit and just ask them questions. But when I do, the answers are given to me almost immediately. So when I asked, like, well, I said, where's Kenneth Bianchi? And I heard St. Joseph Medical Center, Burbank. So I got in my car and I took off, and I'm heading down the driveway to the stoplight, and I see this guy standing outside smoking a cigarette, and he was thin, medium built, in burgundy scrubs. And I'm looking at him, and I could only see the back of his head, but I noticed like the back of his head looked familiar because he had this ducktail kind of, hairline, and the ducktail kind of at the end. It wasn't squared off. And I go, that's Kenneth Bianchi. So as soon as he turned, he threw his cigarette down and he stepped on it, and he turned around and he looked at me, and sure enough, it was Kenneth Bianchi. We were looking right at each other at the stoplight, right across the street from Disney Studios at St. Joseph Medical Center. And I'm looking at him, and he's looking at me, and I didn't stare too long. I just acted real nonchalant and just real cool, and waited for the light to turn green, and I took off. That was the second encounter. I wrote about it, my whole experience about that. I don't want to just explain the whole thing, but I'm just explaining these incidents that I went through to let you know, like, these are the things that happen that led me to have to investigate what's happening, and what led me to figure out exactly what's going on. I knew I was being watched in the office at Bimble Bakery. I knew they had surveillance on me inside the office, and there wasn't only one person watching. There was groups of people watching me. Like an audience. I had an audience on me. I would see legends, spirits of legends. I'd see spirits of celebrities, and just, I mean, it was interesting. It was interesting. So I had more encounters with Kenneth Bianchi there, and finally, I realized. I mean, I took pictures of Abigail Folger. Her last name's King, one of Bianchi's victims. She was a Scientologist. I took pictures of Angela Bono's spirit. And that's when I realized, when I was at Bimbo Bakery, you don't have to be dead for your spirit to be seen. Montebello turned into a hotbed of paranormal activity, back then. And it was weird. Montebello was haunted. But Montebello has always been a really quiet town. I mean, cool. I mean, in the 90s, it was a different story. In the 90s, it was all, gangbangers everywhere, killing each other, gangbanging, gang fights, gang killings. It was bloody summers every summer, in the 90s. And it changed. There's no gangs over here. As a matter of fact, like I said the last time, after Operation Tidal Wave, the gangs seem not to exist here anymore. I think they kicked out a lot of people out of Montebello. Or, I don't know. All I know is, there's a history here of Montebello, and I found out what the history was. I mean, every so often, there's a cleansing, and I think it takes place right here at the at the riverbed, at the river. There's a lot of energy there. Um, spirits always talk to me. And I mean, I found out exactly what's happening since childhood to now. Kenneth Bianchi, I remember him as a kid when I was a little kid, like 4 years old. I remember seeing him. I remember seeing him pull up in a limousine in front of my home, and that was the first time I'd ever seen a limousine in my whole life. And who is it? Kenneth Bianchi. And it may have been I don't think it was Bono, but I know for certain it was Kenneth Bianchi. And then I remember seeing him around the neighborhood, but his transformations, his transformations were a trip. But that's things that you don't remember until after, like they barely came back to me at 44. I remember and I go, damn, that was Kenneth Bianchi, like it's a trip. Um, I don't my memories about him ain't really sharp and detailed, but I remember I had memories of him, and I would start saying, how can I see him at the limo, then see him hanging around with break dancers, and then see him hanging around with some of my dad's friends, and I'm eventually you put a scenario together of what possibly could have happened, but once um, Kenneth Bianchi infiltrated the Mexicans, and he I have a good idea what went on and what he said, and what ended up happening after he got arrested in 1977 for those murders. That left the whole. I'm pretty sure it left all the Mexican communities that he visited and befriended, um, in an amazement, like wow, like what we know him. You know what I mean? Like you know, no one. It's all been on the hush. No one ever mentions it. I never heard anyone mention it. And I think the government had told him, don't ever say anything. Or he said, don't ever say anything because he was supposed to be in jail. And I think he started coming back around, um, saying, yeah, I didn't, or trying to make excuses, whatever. I didn't do it, but don't ever say nothing because I work for the government. Whatever. Um, so at St. Joseph's, that's when I had the realization that children were endangered because I would have children's spirits appearing to me all the time. And then I would hear people intimidating me, threatening my daughter, threatening to kidnap my daughter. And then I started seeing things happening at St. Joseph's that were really questionable. I would see Kenneth Bianchi pulling up with, children, um, a little girl with another guy, and I'm like, what's going on? I took pictures in the storage room of a imprint of a little a child like sitting down, but you could see the imprints of the legs, and it was obviously a little girl that was sitting there with her panties down because you could see imprints of everything. Um, that was in the storage room. That's when that's when that's when I had the realization. Hey, there's children here that are being abused. Um, I mean that it got aggressive there. It got really aggressive there. People, visitors, were coming in, being really aggressive there. They were mad because I would be going to the back and checking it out, and um, it was weird. I mean, I seen a social worker from the DCFS who was there dressed like a candy striper, Degatano. I seen her there. I seen other people here I seen people there from the MTA, the Montebello Teachers Association. I seen Kenneth Bianchi there. But these children's spirits were coming to me. Abigail Folger's spirit appeared to me. I took a picture of her passing by the park. I got a picture of Angela Bono's spirit, Evelyn King's spirit. That's when I realized there's children that are being kidnapped and killed, and there's little graveyards being created in public places, parks, um, construction sites, all over the place. And that's when I started speaking up a little more louder about children and kidnapping, private prisons, and that's when I realized that there is subterraneans right here in Montebello. I'm trying to think. I knew there was sewer systems here in Montebello, big sewer systems, because when we were teenagers, we used to go down to the riverbed, and there would be these big openings, and we would call it the Hal Hole. But I only went so far in there. I wouldn't go all the way in there. Um, but I remember back in the 80s, Montebello Park, it had canals, water canals, because there used to be a lake there, and down on the other side of Olympic, there used to be this big giant entrance to a sewer, and it was a big old hole, and you could walk in there, but they caged it up. But that's where the canal would lead to that water, that water duct that would be sitting there, and they covered that all up. They covered up all the canals. They buried. I think they took out that water duct and buried it or something. But it's not there anymore. But I remember that. I know that there's a big sewer system down there, and after that time, at Bimbo Bakery, I knew there was people being kidnapped, children. I had to call the Montebello police a couple of times because, there was children screaming, or children, or car, suspicious activity by the railroad tracks. Um, that side of Montebello over there is more industrial, and when you look at it through Google Maps, you could see the potential of what can happen right there. A lot of places that are secluded. I mean, you could be out there, do anything you want with anybody, and no one's ever going to find out. You know what I mean? And the government's always been shady. And that's when I realized Montebello's probably been used as a place to come and bring kidnapped people and dispose of them for decades. Um, and when you start putting all this together, um, along with the harassment that you get here at your own home by people you don't know, and so many of them all the time, it was this daily, and people getting comfortable out here in the parking lot, and it's like, what are they doing? See kids' clothes, kids' shoes outside, and it's 2018 already, and I put everything together, and I figured out finally, like, what's going on. Why am I targeted? You know, I was never given an option about anything. Hey, you're either going to stay in California or you're going to leave California. You know what I mean? Because you have to move out. We're giving people options or whatever. But you know, I was one time I was going to the store, and some dude was standing outside, some tagger, and um, he said, "What's up, man?" I go, "What's up?" He's like, "Hey, bro." He's all, "Hey, man, I understand." "I respect your decision, man." And I was like, "The fuck?" Well, I didn't even know what he meant, but I started thinking about it, and I guess everyone was given an option. I wasn't given an option, but everything played out. I started hearing, "Oh, he's not supposed to be. He can't be getting negative, or he can't be negative, or whatever. Finally, I found all this throughout all my research, into what was going on in the history of Montebello. I couldn't find any. I found it. I found a lot of family history. I found out, a lot of things. It's just too much to explain. I mean, um, I've written about it. It's all tweeted, but up till now, to here, I've found out what it was. Um, King Paco of the Aztec Empire. He's infamous. He's infamous for technology. He's infamous for taking off in a UFO. And when I found images of me inside a UFO and spirit confirming everything that I thought, I realized that I found out that I've been coming back. I've been coming back. Every time I die, I'm reborn into the same place, um, or Allen, Texas, for some reason. And when you're into the occult, you know just how strong spirit is, and how much information you could get. So if you wanted to know, you know, um, someone died, and you wanted to know when they're going to be born again, then you just have a spirit tell you when is he going to be born again, or let me know when he is born again. And when that event happens, you have a spirit saying, Arthur Cervantes came into the world again. And that's how I found out that you know um, they'd be taking us out every time we come back into the world. We are reincarnations of royalty of the Aztec Empire, and the Aztec Empire is where Jesus Christ was from. Jesus Christ was reborn all the time too. He's born into the world, and different ethnicities. But the Ku Klux Klan has a problem with that because of the prophecy. There's a prophecy. It's a Mayan Aztec prophecy that is concealed. They have it. They translated it. Try to find it. We can't find it, but it's there. And it saved me a lot of time and energy of having to explain and try to convince you of what's happening. But there is a prophecy, and that's Quetzalcoatl. And apparently that's why I'm going through what I'm going through, because I'm that guy. I'm him. I mean, I have pictures of me in UFOs. I have pictures of me as extraterrestrial. Um, all these little artifacts that came into my view. Came into my possession. Came into my possession for a reason. I mean, this statue of Saint Anne, I can't even tell you how old that is. It's older than old. It's old. I mean, possibly more than 1,000 years old. Why else would there be a conspiracy against me and be so much concentration on me by the police department? Why would they, violate my 14th Amendment and exclude me from anything? Why would they adopt a negative declaration? What happened to my family's land? We had a land grant. What happened to it? I found it. I found out who we were. I found old pictures of, Sanchez, Adobe. They changed it to Sanchez to conceal Cervantes. That whole area belonged to me. That's why when I go through there, I feel like so attachment to that area. Like, I love driving through there. I love driving through there. That whole area, and I feel like this connection with that area of Whittier Narrows. Like, Like I've been there before, and I want to be there more often. And you know, sometimes I hear spirits get happy when I'm there, and you know, um, and they seem excited when I'm there. Um, what made me really think about it was because you know, I have pictures of my grandfather and my grandmother, my great grandfather and grandmother, and the Mars family, and you know, for the time, they're dressed really nice, and they had money. So I come to find out that you know, when America got here, the Confederate, the Civil War, it may have been a civil war, but the Aztec Empire existed, and that's who they were fighting here on this soil, the Confederates, the Aztec Empire. I was like in the 1800s. That's who they were fighting. There's a lot of details, and I post them all. And but see, as crazy as it may sound, uh, um, and unreal and fantasy as it may sound, um, they've always known who I was, and they conceal all the information because if they were to let me in these pyramids over here in Montebello, I would see my own image. I would see the image of my mother. I'd see the image of my family because that's who I am. I see my own image and I post it online. My own image on the earth. I see my name on the earth in valleys, and it's no. I mean, you know, Google tries to conceal what they conceal, what they do. You know, the images of the earth. But our names are written in valleys, just so you won't ever doubt it. My mom's name is scribed on the ocean floor. Emily Cervantes with her image. It's concealed by Google. I mean, what else do you need to be convinced? I mean, that's how I know. I'm reminded all the time, you know, of who I am. I hear extraterrestrials calling me commander. I mean, how can I doubt it? Look at those UFO pictures that I posted on there. I mean, that's me. I'm just here in another life, prophesized. One of the most major prophecies to ever exist, the Mayan Aztec prophecies, where you know, the sun spirit's supposed to be you know, come and take over the world. And look at what I'm facing now. The world belongs to me. As crazy as it may sound, it does. All these other nations, they decided to follow the U.S., follow their lead, and look at what happened. What the U.S. did, they made all these decisions to do all these secretive genocides. Now it's come to a point where it's gotten strange because now we're getting thrown in and out of dimensions. Look at all my photography on December 17th of 2018 while I was at Sempra Gas Company in Monterey Park. That prophecy played out there. Prophecy that's on cave walls of me, images of me with my name on the wall, Artie. I mean, the whole scene played out right there. I climbed on some bricks because I seen some spirits on surveillance at a fence. So I went to go check it out because they look like people. And I go and I see that I don't see nothing. So I told myself I'm gonna jump up on these bricks and get up there and I'm gonna take a picture with them, you know, and look at it on surveillance. And that's exactly what I did. I got up there and I threw my arms in the air and I looked at the camera and then I jumped back down. And I found a cave painting of the whole scene that played out right there. Me up in the air, my hands up in the air, me right at that scene at that gate. Then I seen another incident right next to it where it looks like I got shot, and that played out. I got tased by the Montebello Police Department. Two occurrences that were on the cave wall. Those subterraneans down there, I already know. They have images of my family, the rocks, all the rocks down there, the rock formations, perfect images created of me and my family. That's how I know I'm King Paco. My spirit tells me, Paco, my spirit talks to me and tells me, and that's who I am. You know, it's just there's people that what a lot of people don't know is that in 1843, Europe came and they destroyed all the Latinos, all the Native Americans, gone, all of them killed. There had to be an extraterrestrial intervention, and what they did was they used one person's DNA, and that was the reincarnation of Christ. And back in 1843, that's who I was. I was a reincarnation of Jesus Christ back then, and that's the DNA that they use. Uh, that's why everyone's spirit, and you can confirm this yourself if you have clairaudience or if you're psychic. Try to have your spirit come in and disrespect me and treat me mean, or try to be negative. You're gonna hear your spirit say, "Don't be negative. Don't be negative." That's all I hear. People's spirits telling them, "Don't be negative. Don't be negative. Don't talk to him like that. Don't talk to him like that." And the same goes for my son and my mother. It's because of who we are. I mean, you can confirm it if that's the ability you have, or um, you don't have to believe it. But once in a while, take a look at Google Earth or just look at nature, and you'll see the images of us. I mean, the creation picture, or the guys reaching out to God, you can see my image right there. I mean, you see my son's image all over the place. Joshua's, my daughter's. Um, but the U.S. knew this, and being that they have the technology that I left behind, and in the temples and these pyramids, I guess they thought that they're going to be able to just use it to destroy us. But some really weird Twilight Zone occurrences are taking place. I've heard collisions in the air. I've heard explosions in the air, up in the sky, that you can't see. I took a picture on December 2017. You can check it out. A UFO was super humongous, the biggest UFO that I've ever probably seen. I've seen bigger ones, but that I could confirm that I took. Giant, humongous. I mean, I took pictures of it. That's when they arrived here, and they arrived here for a reason, to make sure that America um, lives up to the orders that they're given. There's so much things that I found out. I mean, like I know that we were left money, because they keep on telling me. I get all these messages. Well, there's this my grandmother Dolores, my mother's mother. Um, she used to be an accordion player. She used to play accordion and violin. And what I had found out was that she made this song. She actually made an album, I believe, and no one really knew about it, but she got paid for it. And one of the songs was called Genesis. And I heard about Genesis through they're called Secret Cervantes Protocols, SCPs, and they're creations of creatures, entities, unusual things that are all created by our family, Tesla, and come on behalf of our family from extraterrestrial means. And they're all in Cervantes Valley, which is Haskell oil field, because there's valleys there. And that's where the concentration camps are. That's where little villages that look like European villages, because you know, Jacques Pierre, although he was from Hidalgo, when the Spain came and invaded, it wasn't only Spain; it was other European countries like France and Germany. And when in 1800s, when they killed all the Latinos, um, the extraterrestrials sat us down right here and told us, "This is your sacred land. This is where the Aztecs are, and you guys are Aztecs, and we're all mixed, of mixed ethnicity: European, Asian, Latino, Amerindian." And in 1923, Germany came and invaded here because at that time, too, again, the Galactic Federation had demanded that they give back our territory, give it back to the Aztec Empire. The Aztec Empire was known as California's AE, California's Aztec Empire. So we had military here. I don't know how it worked. I don't know the details. All the information is limited, but now the prophecy is King Paco's gonna come back. You're gonna be real negative with them because you ain't gonna want to give back the technology, and it doesn't have to play out like that. It could have been a positive experience. But the leadership of the U.S. is so controlled by racism that and Satanism that it didn't play out the positive. It played out the negative. And greed, greed of the people, like Scientology and the U.S. government concealing all the pyramids and temples of the Aztec temples, and allowing themselves to be seduced by evil Aztec spirits, because there's good and bad in everything. And there was evil Aztec people that sacrificed kids, allowing themselves to be seduced by the spirits that contact them at the temples that they live on top of, because they have access. So they go and they spend all their time there. People meet, all the law enforcement meet up there. It just became a place where they thought that if we sacrifice all these Mexican children, we're gonna rule the world. They told us, but it's deceiving. They're evil spirits. They're not trying to help you. You know what I mean? So before you know it, you have all these people dressing like they're Aztecs and having ceremonies and rituals and inside these temples that are concealed, that are built over, that have entrances in their in their basement down to the temples. That's how convenient it is. Hollywood Reservoir. I already showed everybody evidence, even if it's questionable. It's questionable. Shit, I see what I see. There's video, there's images. Nothing about nothing I can say will make these police departments even flinch when it comes to kidnap and murder of children or anybody, regardless of the evidence. Look at all the evidence I have that makes it questionable. How come there ain't no kids here in Montebello? Never have I. How come I start reporting behavior of the Montebello Teachers Association and how they act immature and racist and heckling and harassing, and then all of a sudden there's no school in Montebello? There's no school in session right now. Where's Montebello Intermediate? Where's Montebello High School? I don't even think there's an MUSD in effect right now. I think MUSD is LAUSD. I could keep on going on and on and on and tell you a bunch of details about everything, but let me just get to the most important. All these banks, a lot of them, all these corporations, they were here already before America even came. Coca-Cola, Mars, Kentucky Fried Chicken, you know, those were corporations that belong to my family. Um, the banks, I mean, you know, they were here before they came. Um, so with this agreement, they know that they're supposed to give back everything that they stole from us, including the Federal Reserve, the bank, everything. Look at whose name is on the Federal Reserve. Who was running it? Guadalupe. That was my grandmother's name and my grandfather's name, and I knew that. They said your grandfather was the owner of these banks, and they have to give them back to you. And someone named Guadalupe Hernandez, I believe, um, was running the National Reserve. Um, then I come to find out there was an account that was created by my grandmother with this money that she had earned playing the accordion, and it created this song called Genesis. I think she created an album, and she made a deposit in the bank that she forgot about. It was a small deposit, I think, probably maybe hundreds to thousands, maybe a couple of thousand, maybe. Well, you know, there's a connection between us and other celebrities, and people know this. When you were involved in that little secretive circle, you associate with celebrities. Can't ever say anything, but you do, and that's been happening for years. So, you know, Joan Crawford was one of those people that used to go do the rounds in the communities and stuff. And she was mean. She was mean, really. And so was Lucille Ball. She wasn't mean, but she suffered too as well. Um, because she wouldn't submit to being so cold-hearted with the natives. So my grandmother confided in Lucille Ball and told her, "Can you please deposit this money and put it under the firstborn of Emily Cervantes?" So she did. She created a CD, and that CD has been in existence since the '70s. Has just been collecting money under Lucille Ball's name. But there's um, other details about it of who it really belongs to. But they're adding money, quarterly deposits. All the investors, like 30 pages, thousands of corporations and businesses that investment went into, and it's supposedly adding up to $7 trillion. That one little investment that my grandma made for me, it added up to $7 trillion. And there's pages online. I posted it online. Quarterly investments from corporations and businesses all over that add up to $7 trillion. And all the governments ever did was hide inheritances. Even from Carlos Jr. Kathleen Cervantes, if I'm not mistaken, Kathleen Cervantes' real name is Louise Hay, the Louise Hay from Hay House. And if I'm not mistaken, Louise Hay is Carl Archer, Carl's Jr. Daughter, one of his children. And then I heard that he left an inheritance to every one. I kept on hearing Carl Jr., Carl's Jr.'s, Carl's Jr. He left an inheritance to every one of his grandchildren, and that's including, the grandchildren of Kathleen, whether we knew her or not. And supposedly that inheritance got stolen too. All the profits from the Genesis song, that got taken. All our property from Asco oil fields, which is the whole valley over there, Whittier Narrows, that got taken from us. All our businesses, American Family Insurance, $1 billion a company, that got taken from us. Everything, billions of dollars. That's why. I mean, there's a manuscript of a conversation between George Bush, whether they want to say it's fake or not. It's not. I know it ain't, because I was hearing all this information before I even found it about how they're supposed to be following orders and giving back, giving back everything to me that I left, and they didn't fulfill the contract. They didn't live up to the contract. It's prophecy. I mean, you could do all your own research. Everything that I've said to you right now, you could find it on my Twitter. I mean, you have to do the research. I mean, but really, I don't. I mean, all I can say is there's consequence. I mean, this can't go on forever. This was happening here. I mean, people sneaking into my home, finding secretions all over the place, contaminating our food, and the police department not doing anything about it. It's because of California's independence, and everybody who wants to who thinks they're going to be getting a home, because Montebello owns a bunch of homes, a bunch of properties, because they belong to my grandfather. So they took them over. So they're under the city's all these homes all over, because my grandfather would have never sold property. He would have built homes and rented them out or leased them out so he could keep his property. He did that all through America. You don't sell your land when you're an empire, or you own it and you want to stay in control. You don't sell your land. You rent it out and you lease it. And that's exactly what he did. So Montebello has ownership, and there's a Navarre's estate, real estate in Downey, and I believe that's where they operate and do business from all over California to all throughout the United States, and even in some different countries. My grandfather was always on the move, because he couldn't be too content here because of all the racism. And that was Herculano, general of the Aztec Empire military. It was just Californios. He was the general of this battle that took place, the Battle of Herculano. The information's there, the evidence is there, but my major concern now is I'm broke. I'm broke. We're living in a fucking apartment that we've been here for 35 years already, and we have all our money that's been taken from us illegally. My father has a $14 million net worth. And I come to find out there was a lawsuit against a food manufacturer. My dad used to work at a LA food bank. They used his name, filed a lawsuit, and kept the money. The same with me. Mervyn store. They used my mother's name. Supposedly they had illegal surveillance in the dressing rooms, and they have illegal surveillance of us or me changing, and they sued Mervyn's, and they got a lawsuit from that. That $7 trillion is under Ana Cervantes. Like I said, they change names. They change names all the time to whatever suits them. And then they start giving property away to their families. And so basically, everything that belongs to us, they give as gifts to their family. They give to people for bribes, to do favors. They use these homes as little homes to do whatever they need to do, government dirt. You know what I mean? But we're living here right now, broke and struggling, when we have billions, trillions of dollars out there that belong to us, and they're supposed to give it back to us. But it ain't happening. They're being stubborn. That's why it's gotten so bad right here in Montebello, because these delusional police departments, they know who this land belongs to. They know who Montebello Police Department belongs to. It belongs to me. I'm their boss, but they're using my money to get rid of me and poison me. Look at my leg. It's not healed. I don't know what it is. Typhus, cellulitis. My leg is not healed. My leg gets swollen, and I mean it can't heal. I was perfectly healthy. I go to Beverly Hospital, I get an injection, and I go back with some kind of fucking leg disease that won't go away. My asthma is constantly acting up because I'm smelling things coming from the heater or upstairs. These people are constantly fucking trying to get us out of here, trying to piss us off, making noise, clicking noises all through our home. I mean, it's obvious, you know what I mean? I mean, I can't even tell you the things that have to be concealed, or I can't even tell you what my mother's gone through because she won't ever say nothing. You know what I mean? She won't ever. She don't want problems. She's lived here in Montebello, East LA area all her life, and I could imagine what she's been through since a child. And these Montebello police, they want to pull her aside and talk to her like a possessive boyfriend and threaten her. And it's hard to accept, but I can't do nothing because I was specifically told not to. I had an alien visitation at Bimbo Bakery. I seen a spirit, a spirit of an alien. I seen him on the monitor, and he was talking to me telepathically, and I couldn't even block it out. It was just so loud and ringing. Even the people there heard it, and they told me, you know, when they come and try to be negative with you, and they want to do something, don't do nothing. They said they want to do something. They're gonna do. They're gonna get negative with them. They said don't do nothing. Don't get negative with them. We're gonna get negative with them. And that's something I always remember. And that's why I really don't worry about anybody coming around trying to start problems, because I'm not gonna do nothing. I'm just gonna depend on have faith in what they told me. And you know, I have so many pictures of UFOs in the air above our home. I have so many pictures of me on the sarcophagus cover of King Paco's tomb, right below me in these little subterraneans. Um, there's evidence all over. But one of the main things I guess I really wanted to address is, um, this land right here, this property, Montebello, it's mine, and I want it. I want it back, and I want it back as soon as possible. And every cent that's connected to it, I want it, because it's in the hands of some racist Ku Klux Klan conspirators with Puerto Ricans and everybody else, and it all's down to Satanism. And if I don't get it back, it's going to be in control by Satan worshippers, Scientologists. This is mine. It's mine. This city. I want it back. I'm broke. I don't have a cent to my name. Not 1 cent. And I'm living like this every day. Because when everything was handed over, it wasn't handed over to me. It wasn't like it was supposed to be. Everything was supposed to be handed over to me. It wasn't. It was handed over to Kenneth Bianchi. You go online and research Bianchi verses, you're going to see all these banks all over the world that Bianchi verses is trying to take over. He's literally trying to take the whole fucking nation every country's bank because power was given to him. That's the Hillside Strangler taking over the world. Bianchi versus Wells Fargo. Bianchi versus Chase. Bianchi versus everything. I mean, come on. All these food manufacturers, you're going to end up dying. Whose ownership are they under? They're supposed to be mine. Would I do that? I wouldn't do that. I ain't trying to hurt the children. They're under the ownership of serial killers who are poisoning our food now, like Monsanto. I mean, shit, it's questionable when you go into a restaurant and a food worker is putting secretions in your food. Yeah, okay, fuck, be cautious. But when your food is being manufactured with poison and secretions, human secretions and sealed food, that's another story, and that's happening. I don't know, really. I'm not. I'm angry. I'm broke. I own everything, because that's what the Clinton Foundation. Are they even the Clinton Foundation? Did they change their name to Cervantes? Because someone did. Someone did. And you would know by going and researching. I don't have these resources. I can't even afford to go pay for a fucking resource. I had to leave the security field because everyone was fucking concealing shit. All these security companies wanted you to be concealing what was going on. It's either you're in or you're out. You're negative and you're a secretive, or you're not. And if you ain't, then we're gonna harass you. And we're gonna give you, whatever, treat you whatever, however we want to treat you. But if you are, you're gonna go to these places. You're gonna see some shit, and you're gonna shut your fucking mouth. You know what I mean? And that's it. But like I'm saying, do your research, because the people that took control of everything, they make it bad. They make it bad, and they make people suffer. And before you know it, there's going to be dead people on the street, and it's not going to. It's just going to be a normal thing. Because the police ain't going to make a big deal about it. They're just going to leave it until a fucking black van comes and picks it up. I mean, Satan worship. These Satan worshippers are so concerned about controlling spirits so they could have this intel. That's why national security is destroyed. It's destroyed. They allowed a satanic cult to come in and take power of our national security by letting them use spirits to to do espionage, to commit espionage. I don't know. I mean, really, I could explain. Like I said, I'm not really in the mood to explain everything. I just gave you a good idea of what's going on. But really, the choice is yours. I mean, never in my life would I have ever imagined this happening to me. I never associated myself with being the reincarnate of an emperor. I never knew there was pyramids here. I never knew that my family was wealthy. I never knew I had these bank accounts that they're all of a sudden, Trump says he has $7 trillion that he generated. Like, from where? When I found that whole fucking 30-page document of all those corporations and businesses that make these quarterly deposits into this account, I looked it up. It's under Cervantes. I don't know. It's up to you. I mean, really, you have to choose. Who do you want? A president? You want a president and a government with all these crooked politicians that conceal all the best of everything for themselves? Or, I mean, do you want a royal family and a monarchy that takes care of their people? I mean, really, it's about the children and the future. I mean, I don't have no racial bias. I care for every child. Yeah, that's a decision you guys have to make. Really, I mean, our future is grim. Else this wouldn't be happening, and you're gonna see soon. As soon as you neglect it, before you even know it, there's gonna be a lot of darkness and tragedy. But if you don't act now and try to do something about, I can't do nothing. They make sure that I can't do nothing. They want to treat me like I ain't nothing, like I ain't entitled to nothing, and more so, they want to rub it in. My family's been a target since the 1800s here for killing 300 Ku Klux Klan. Billy the Kid was my family. Zapata was our family. They're all related. The Sundance Kid was our family. Lincoln County regulators, that was all Cervantes, Murrieta, Flores, Chavez. They're all Latinos, Latino Caucasians. And, they were fighting on behalf of our grandmother, Guadalupe. And, at the Aztec Empire. Um, but yeah, that's where it's at. They won't give me one red cent. They don't want it. That's how greedy they are. No one wants to acknowledge anything. That 14 million that belongs to my dad, um, the Cervantes Trust, um, the Navarez estates, the 7 trillion that got generated from the CD that Lucille Ball created for us. There's just so much, trillions of dollars, and look at how we're living for 35 years. I have to go apply for GR because Ken Bianchi took over all the security agencies to do what he wants to do. They want to use these pyramids for sacrificing children and creating children with our blood to try to access this technology that they can't get a hold of, that only I can because of who I am. As soon as they allow me or I get access to all these temples and stuff, that's going to make the world a better place. I'm going to be able to access all the technology that I created in other lives to save people. I mean, it's too bad everyone got misled and was told that or given lies about me when I was just a fucking security guard. You know what I mean? Doing paranormal investigations. But I'm gonna leave you now because it's getting a little too emotionally I don't want my emotions to take over this broadcast. But like I said, it is what it is. I mean, look at the information on my Twitter, and I don't even know where to go from here. Where do I go? I mean, Chamber of Commerce. I know they control Montebello. What am I going to go walk in there and say, hey, listen, this is my city, everything in it. I want the control now, and I want all our account information for the bank and everything. Instead of waiting for this kind of occasion, a prophecy that was 4,000 years old already, instead of waiting for it and greeting us like we're oppressed and punished. But of course there's a consequence, and that's what the Galactic Federation's here for. Look at your high schools filled. They're here already. They're here. And that's their proof. And, you hear them say, we're here. Look at the pyramid on the top of the hill. It says our name all over it. Our image. It's just scribbled out, concealed. Look at all the grid lines on the other side of the freeway by the electric company. They make these grids. I mean, they must take like hours and hours and hours of work crossing out, making grid lines on the dirt to conceal what the extraterrestrials leave there, all the images and information of us. I mean, it sounds crazy, but you know what? There has to be somebody, and apparently I'm that somebody. And if I can't convince you, then you'll be convinced by other means. I don't know. That's the extraterrestrials that are here. It's just sad that it has to come to this point. Like, American greed and American influence really made people that ignorant. But anybody that wants to um, stand good with the Aztec Empire and me and my family, and live a prosperous life, and secure the future for their family, and wants to help me with representation, or help gaining power from these people, and actually have the power to do it, don't hesitate, because I don't forget what people do for me. And like I said, that's what I'm here to do, to make sure that everybody here in this nation is living comfortable and has opportunity, and ain't stuck out in the cold and the rain. And let everyone have a good future and experience the good things. All these pyramids and temples ain't supposed to be having homes on top of them. You know what I mean? They're supposed to be preserved and respected. It's sacred ground. So like I said, are you concerned with the future? If you are, then I would really consider trying to help me out, because I don't forget who helps me, or I don't forget favors that are done for me. And if I was somebody watching me, and I had the ability to make things happen and change things, I would think about my family, and I'd take that risk and say, "No, I'm securing my future, my family's future, by making positive decisions." So I mean, it's up to you. Really, I mean, people might look at me and say, think that I'm not capable of running a country. Maybe not right now, because I have so many issues going on, and when I'm speaking to you, I'm speaking through emotion. But I already know what I'm here to do. I already know who I am, and it's up to you. I mean, I don't know what you believe the future's going to be like, letting it get this negative, but you should really think about it. But I ramble on, and I could talk your ear off and talk to you for another 2 hours, but I'm not. So thank you for listening.